Coming up in this week's video, I explain what this odd lump of grass is, talk about these amazing stone circles, give you a tour of the campsite I'm staying at, and welcome back the return of Colin Answers Your Questions. Well, good morning, you lovely people. Today's video was supposed to start with a visit to Chatsworth House. I'm here, and it's closed. Turns out that I'm not actually at Chatsworth House. I'm at the farm shop. So yeah, just pretend that never happened, and we'll move on. Okay, see you bye. So that it wasn't a wasted visit, I thought I'm already here at the shop and cafe, so why not have a nosy inside before moving on? It's a very well stocked shop with lots of fresh produce, I'm guessing mostly from the estate gardens. I also needed coffee for the van, so I grabbed this without checking the price. Never again will I ever do that, like ever. I was too embarrassed at the till to take it back to. Anyway, tight Yorkshireman aside, there's a cafe just at the back of the shop, open daily from 9 AM till 5 PM, with a lovely outdoor seating area with amazing views. So eventually arriving at the actual Chatsworth House, and not just the farm shop, I got there to find out why it was closed. Well, kind of closed. There's a lot of restoration work going on at the moment, but it is due to reopen soon. But while the main house and gardens are closed, there's still lots to do here, and parking is currently free. I walked down towards the house and saw a bunch of fire trucks, and I thought to myself, no way is this place on fire? But after speaking with one of the fire marshals, I was told that it was an emergency response training exercise, that they have to do it periodically to ensure that the Derbyshire Fire Brigade is ready for if the worst happens. I was then told that Chatsworth House has its own in-house fire brigade, but if the fire was larger than they could handle, the Derbyshire Fire and Rescue Service would be called out to help them extinguish any fires. Thankfully though, it wasn't on fire, so I continued my wander around the grounds, and I've got some cool information to tell you about it. Chatsworth House is a Grade 1 listed building with a 105-acre garden and a 1,800-acre park. That's the equivalent of almost 900 football pitches. This place has been home to 17 generations of the Devonshire family. If you watch my video where I visited Bolton Abbey a few weeks ago, it's the same Devonshire family that owns this place. They must have a few quid. The gardens that sadly we can't get into today feature a 300-year-old Cascade Waterworks, the Willow Fountain and the Emperor Fountain. As well as the maze, rockery, cottage and kitchen gardens, there are no less than 5 miles of walks that feature rare trees, shrubs, streams and ponds. Today, the garden is managed by a team of over 20 gardeners and 50 volunteers. Mental. Well, you don't see that every day, do you? A fire drill at a manor house. I love it. But it has scuppered today's plans. It really, really has. And we're going to spend the day at Chatsworth House, give you all the history and everything. However, I've had to change plans. Now, I've just realised that Bakewell is a short drive from here. So I'm going to go there and grab something that I know I absolutely love. So let's crack on. And I shall see you when we find a parking spot in Bakewell. Nice. So I've arrived in the famous town of Bakewell. I'm in the town centre car park, and I'll do a bit of B-roll so you know exactly where I am. And I think now it's time to explore Bakewell. Nice. Bakewell in Derbyshire is probably most famous for its tarts. The ones you eat. Oh, well, that clarification didn't make it any better, did it? It's a small town and it's pretty, very pretty. With its little alleyways, back streets, hidden cafes and shops, it truly is a fantastic place to spend your day. It seems like a very dog-friendly place with plenty of shops for the pooch too. I filmed these bags in the bookshop because Michelle and Olivia do like a good bag and bookshop. So there you go, girls. The town of Bakewell was founded in 1906 by an earl from the Netherlands. And because he's from the Netherlands, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name. So here it is on screen. Bakewell has also been frequented by the likes of William Wordsworth, the famous poet, and John Ruskin, the famous art critic, and despite popular belief, Jane Austen never actually visited. In 1608, the witches of Bakewell were hanged for practising witchcraft. In 1797, there was a riot caused by men who didn't want to serve in what was called the militia service, a forced service by the local government, as they felt like they couldn't afford to be away from work. And finally, in 1905, a circus came to town, and the circus elephant called Old Paul grabbed one of the tent poles and started to shake it violently, causing the audience to retreat in fear of the tent collapsing. This place is lovely, you could easily spend a day here. Loads of craft shops, art shops, there's even like the Edinburgh Woolen Mill and jewels if you've got a load of money. Proper ace, but there's one thing I want to do, and that is to take a tart home for tonight. So that's what we're going to do now. Lovely. Right then, tart firmly grabbed for this evening. I know what you were thinking, dirty minds. And everyone's looking at me, I feel like, all right, Dave, right, back to the car, see you, bye. Do you know what? Bakewell is lovely. And I think before I head off to my next awesome destination of the day, I'm going to get the kettle on and have me some tart. Nice. Right then, coffee done, tart had. I think it's time to head off to our next awesome destination of the day. So if you'd like to visit any of the places I've visited today, then I'll pop a couple of links in the description below to save you having to faff about looking online for them. Also, it hasn't gone unnoticed that this is the third video in a row now where the weather has been utterly gorgeous. Maybe this is a sign of things to come this year, who knows? So we have arrived at Arbor Low, and I've probably pronounced it wrong. It's a quid to get in because it's on private land. So let's go check it out. Nice. So I've arrived at Arbor Low. It's one of the UK's most preserved prehistoric sites, and it's often referred to as the Stonehenge of the North. Originally constructed about 6,000 years ago, it's believed to have been used as a ritual meeting place by the pagan community. In its heyday, there will have been up to 50 large limestone blocks, but all that's left now is just fragments of what once was. In 1901, archaeologists found flint scrapers, arrowheads, other bone tools, and also found human bones. Ugh. And although this is part of English heritage now, it is on private land, and all the farmer asks for is a small donation of £1, which I don't think is too bad considering the amount of history that lies here. Lovely. Further up from this stone circle is a place called Gib Hill, so we're going to have a quick wander up there and go see what that's all about. Nice. So this is Gib Hill. It's a Neolithic burial ground. In the 19th century, archaeologists found a small stone-like coffin which contained some cremated bones and food offerings from mourners of the dead. Wouldn't have come here if I'd have known that. Right then, with all that done, let's get back to the van, go to tonight's campsite, get you a campsite tour, and you'll be pleased to know there's a Colin Answers Your Questions too. Nice. Right then, so it seems that I've arrived at tonight's campsite. And I think what I'm going to do is get the mat out. It doesn't look like it's going to rain. Get my 5-pit out on my seat, get all sorted, and get settled in for the night. Lovely. So because I was given a choice of pitches, I've moved about 3 times. I can never be happy, and I'm sure this is now the final spot that I will sit at this evening, because that is my view. It's uninterrupted, it's beautiful, and the other one was nice, sheltered because the trees and stuff, but I don't think it's going to be too windy tonight, so I think I should be all right. Right now, I'm going to get set up and get all sorted. I've got a beer in my hand. That means only one thing. It's time for questions. And the first question is, how is your pop top doing since you did the polytroll? I think it's been about 8 or 10 months since I last did it. I've got a bit of B-roll of what it looks like now, and it definitely needs another going over. Now, I've got a choice here. I either do another polytroll coat, or I have it resprayed and gel coated. Now, because I'm a Yorkshireman and I'm super tight, I think I'm just going to use the polytroll until it runs out, and then at that point I'll think about maybe having it resprayed and gel coated. I don't know. I'll probably just keep buying tins of polytroll until we sell the van. So this next question is a couple of questions. Why have you changed the format of the videos, and why are your videos a bit shorter? So I get bored quite easily, and to keep the enthusiasm for something, I have to make changes. And it's the same with videos. I have to make those changes so then the quality of the content that comes out to you is top notch, or as top notch as I can make it, rather than just go through the motion of making videos because that's how I've always done it. So I hope that makes sense. And the length of the videos recently have been like that because there's been a bit of a transition, a bit of a changeover, and I'm still trying to find my feet with these little changes. I think the future videos that are happening, they'll be slightly longer, but I do have to blame you guys for one thing and one reason why it's got shorter, and that's because you've stopped sending me questions on Colin Answers Your Questions section. Ignore this moment right now, which is Colin Answers Your Questions, because you have started sending me them, which is it. But that's one of the reasons why Colin Answers Your Questions wasn't happening, and that's 2 or 3 minutes off a video right there. Another thing that I've stopped doing, which has knocked off probably 5 minutes of a video, is the packing of the van, driving away, and then when I get to a campsite, setting up and everything like that, because I've got a system now that works, and it would be the same in every single video. So I've taken that out. I just haven't found a thing to replace it with yet. I've been working on stuff, and obviously you've noticed I'm doing some more historical facts and some cool places to visit and things like that, and I just need to again figure out how long those sections have to be and how much information I have to put in there for them. And again, you guys are great because you will comment on the videos below and you'll give me ideas, and you'll say, oh, I wish this came back, I wish that came back, or, you know, I'm glad that went because that was a bit of a boring section, blah, blah, blah. It's like with food. I'm always making the same food. I've got a system, it works. Now, if I find some new food, I shall pop that into a video and show you that I'm cooking something different, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's all a bit of a learning curve, I'll be honest with you. Now, the content that I'm putting out there, hopefully, is becoming a little bit better, and I can fill in those gaps, make the videos a little bit longer, because I know you want longer episodes rather than 10-minute ones. Hopefully this one's a little bit longer, and last week's were a little bit longer. Not 100% sure, not even edited those yet. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question. I probably waffled on a little bit too much in that. And the next and final question is, where have your outtakes gone? What I generally tend to do is see how many outtakes I've got once I've edited a video, and if there's only 2 or 3, it's not really worth putting them out, or if the outtakes are not really funny or entertaining, again, there's no point in putting them out. So the only time there'll be no outtakes on a video is when I've either put together a video where there hasn't been any outtakes, or there's not been enough to form an outtake section, if that makes sense. They will be there if there are any. If there aren't, they won't. That's the long and short of it.
So after 3 days of non-stop filming this week, and after this section here, I decided to put the camera away, enjoy the silence and chill around my fire pit. One of the chaps who lives on site in his van joined me for a chat a little bit later too. One of my favourite pastimes is talking to strangers and finding out their life story. We're all on a journey that leads us to where and who we are now, and it's great to get my head out of social media and spend time talking with real humans face to face. I highly recommend it. But with all that being said, it's now time for your campsite tour. Stay awesome everyone, and I shall see you next week. Greystone's Nowab campsite is a stone's throw from Arbor Stone Circle and nestled between Buxton and Bakewell. It's open all year round, is dog and family friendly and suitable for caravans as well as motorhomes, tents and camper vans. This time of year it's always difficult for campsites with grass pitches as the ground can get pretty boggy, but thankfully there are a handful of hard standing pitches to pick from here. This is a small and pretty basic site, but it does have a small pot wash area, 2 toilets and 2 showers with toilets. The showers are £1 though, so don't forget to bring some gold cash. There is a waste area, plenty of water taps, and I think this was an Nelson point, but I'm not 100% sure. The mobile reception on Vodafone was pretty hit and miss, but I was getting 4G sometimes. The views from the site are lovely, and they allow fire pits and sell logs too. I chose a hard standing pitch with electric, and it cost me just £15 for the night. Not bad considering its location. There is also another campsite directly opposite, but it was closed. Maybe I'll come back, stay there and see if there are any walks to do directly from the campsite. Stay awesome you lot, and I hope you enjoy this week's outtakes. Nice.
The cafe is still open. Wait a minute, yeah, cool. And it doesn't open until 15th of March. But here's some information about Chatsworth House when you want to come. It reopens on the 15th of March. Wait a minute. I'm like rapping. Obviously there's a massive load of buses and stuff. Awesome. I need to go somewhere quieter, where there's no people. Oh, do you know what? Bakewell is lovely. And so I've arrived at the Arbor Low Stone Circle. It's one of the best, but most preserved prehistoric site. Well, so behind me here is Arbor Low, one of the world's, no, it's not the world. So behind me here is Arbor Low, and it's one of the UK's most prehistoric freaking and it's one of the UK's most preserved prehistoric. In its heyday, there will have been, do that again. In 1901, archaeologists found tools like arrowheads and I can't see myself, flint scrapers, other tools, whatever. Flint scrapers, arrowheads. Has found a small stone-like coffin buried beneath the mound. The light behind me is rubbish. I mean, that would be it, but I can't sit here with a freaking light on me like that for ages. And further back makes no difference. Off, on. Oh, it does a little bit, I suppose. That's off and on. All right, okay.